Hi, Joseph Connellan here. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how local communities can engage in housing for people with disabilities in their community. The housing system is complex, segmented and interconnected. I've created this diagram that has the two components, the support side and the housing side. Within housing, the two feeder areas, those in inappropriate accommodation like aged care, hospitals, etc., those in interim, short and medium term accommodation, feeding down into the highest level of need in specialist disability accommodation, then those into non-SDA supported housing, social housing, private rental, and finally home, including mixed and shared equity. It's important to have the support side there in as much as it should to avoid getting dragged into a discussion around support. This support is integrated but is not the topic of today's discussion. SDA, or specialist disability accommodation, is an important part of the landscape and probably the most visible part in the NDIS world. Just to go back to the basics, it's for people with significant functional impairment and or complex needs. It is a small NDIS program, but it's big in a housing sense. The total cost is probably in the order of $35 billion. That's a lot of housing money. It has two purposes: to renew the non-contemporary SDA and grow the numbers housed from 7,500 to 28,000. It works in an open market with centrally set pricing. The program is about 10 years old, and up until 2023 had been reporting about 23,000 people housed. That was revised down in 2024 to 14,000 housed and 9,000 people with unused funding. I was, like many people, I was surprised at that revision, and it showed, in fact, that there had been a reduction in the number of people housed in this space rather than the planned increase to 28,000. So one of the key questions around the SDA is how significant is a program failure? Is it just some wrinkles in the rollout? I think apart from the fundamental that it is in fact reduced, not increased the number of people housed, there's some really big problems with the SDA. It's delivering both oversupply, undersupply, super profits, investor losses all at the same time. It's remarkable. And the SDA failure is distorting the entire system. If we just use one relatively extreme example, look at what's happening with one category of housing in the west of Melbourne, and that's with robust housing, where there's 108 people with funding for robust. We had 27 people in existing housing, so clearly you had a shortfall. But what has happened is there's been 420 places built and another 681 in development. This is extraordinary. This is not a 5 or 10% oversupply. This is many, many times what's required. So what can be done? I think the key is that this can only be really addressed at a community level, and somebody must lead this. And I think by community, I mean probably a local government area that's big enough to bring in all the complexities, but also small enough for everybody to be related to each other. So what I say to people is to use that diagram and plug in what supplies out there, what demands out there, who the players are, and importantly, who are the people that actually are housed or looking for housing, who are the real people in this. And go out and use that to recruit people who might be interested but underinformed. There's lots of people interested in this space, but it's so complex. You've got to make it really understandable for them. And use the SDA as a starting point, because that's the most visible part of the equation. It's not the end, but it allows people to come into the conversation. So the first thing is you need to do is document each of the local segments. As I said, look at supply, demand, stakeholders, potential strategies. Identify and inform interested community members and leaders. Who out there has an interest in this space? Who's interested in housing, general community, welfare, people with disability? You know the folks in your local community that are interested in this. Bring them together in a outcome-based community roundtable. So at very least, this will inform people of what the actual priorities and interests and opportunities are in this space. In this roundtable, it'd be great if you could identify segments, priorities. So what people want to do in each of those areas, like SDA or private rental or home ownership. Maybe there's not action in each one, that's okay, but you just need to identify where people want to come together and work on particular strategies. And when you do work on them, it's really important you campaign for results. People have not just some acknowledgement of the problem. Thank you.